any new TV
Oh,
besides what we were
Yes.
just talking about?
Well, streaming.
Yeah.
All that streaming stuff, yeah.
Kevin Smith
Yes.
is going to do He-Man Revelation.
It's supposed to be a darker He-Man, right?
Well, not only a darker He-Man, but it picks up where the series left off
I know.
in the
It's
80s.
crazy that they're choosing that.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith to do it, so it'll have humor. It'll have really great action in it. And it'll also have like some killer ass dialogue. You know it's got
absolutely.
to. You know it's got to.
That should be fun, dude. I'm kind of interested.
That was a secret project too, because he just announced it last week in a way that it was like a surprise.
Well,
like,
so
here you go.
he's been talking about how he's in the. I think it's him and Mark, the guy that does Fat Man Beyond with him. I think they're both working. I haven't caught up to know if that's the project they were talking about. They were talking about his project they couldn't say anything about.
Oh, on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if that's not it. I'm assuming.
I think it'll be really
Pretty
cool
big
because
one.
I just got done reading all the most of the DC run of a lot of the Tyson knows. I read through 12 issues the other day. They have the beginnings, like Masters of the Universe, the beginnings, where they have like a
Masters of the
trap
Universe,
jaw. They
yeah,
have He-Man. They have Prince Adam. They have fucking Skeletor. They have all these one-shot comics. Even
have
Man at
Ram
Arms.
Man?
I think Ram Man might be part of it.
Can't
But I
start with
read
no Ram Man.
Man, I ran through so many of those, and I think they're really the art's gonna be more of that Frazetta style too.
Yeah.
Like the original.
I hope so.
The original artist of He-Man was more Frazetta.
Well, that's what he took it at.
Correct.
He was looking
Yeah.
at Frazetta from that. That was a Netflix documentary as well.
That was on the Toys That Made Us.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the Toys That Made Us. I think they had their own.
Yeah, well, they
separate
did have
documentary.
the-
They
the-
did have a
yeah.
Toys That Made Us, but I think there was a separate documentary
just all Masters. of
that was
Universe.
all Masters of the
Cool.
Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But- And I love that art style. I'm a
Right.
big Frazetta fan.
Sure, yeah.
In our practice
Hence your
room, we had-
Conan
Yeah.
love. Yeah, I know you're
Well,
a barbarian
But
guy.
we also in our practice room we had like a wall that was just full
Yeah.
of Frazetta paintings.
Nice.
It
You
had
know
a
what I
map
mean?
of that
The
land.
Hyborian Age.
Yeah,
I still got
Hyborian
it in
Age,
here
yeah.
too.
Heck
So
yeah.
No, I mean I like that art style, and I think Kevin Smith. This is something different than he would normally do,
For sure.
which is really awesome. You know,
agree.
and anything that he does that's a little bit different is usually great.
Well, and I think he has the love for things, and he finds that love and the passion that he has for those kind of things. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah,
And even though I do feel like maybe this was a little, like he was a little older when He-Man came out.
Oh yeah. He
You
was
know?
in his mid-teens.
I would think.
I think at that point,
Yeah.
because he was
I don't know how old he is,
but he was still I mean
So it probably wasn't as big to him as it was, but he knows of it,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's a geek.
Yeah, which is
So
really
he
cool,
probably
yeah.
does have
Yeah.
some sort of love for it. you
Yeah,
know what
there's
I mean?
something in there. Even like I said, the DC
I mean that
comics,
with love, the geek thing. Of course.
Yeah, the DC comic stuff were really good books. To just really tell you the truth, being a fan of it, I mean, of course, whenever I was a little kid, I had He-Man.
Right.
He-Man was everywhere.
Sure.
I mean, some of my earliest
Did you
memories.
have the Castle Grayskull?
Fuck yeah, I had Castle Grayskull. I had Snake Mountain.
Snake Mountain with the voice changer.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
ripped that voice changer out at one point, and I used it just by itself, and that was
Nice.
so awesome.
I bet.
Because the battery still worked from the late 80s or the mid 80s whenever I got it,
Right.
up until like the early 90s. So
you
I
go.
found it in the garage, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to play with Snake Mountain. And it was just like the coolest little voice changing thing ever.
Right
But
on.
yeah, I like that world. Even they're coming out with newer toys for them too.
Yeah.
The newer toys look great. They look
Yeah.
cool. And I'm not a toy collector. I'm not going to go buy a lot of toys, but
It's cool that
I
they're
might
cool.
go get some of these He-Man just because it's fucking He-Man. You know, I mean, come on, that name is so crazy. It's He-Man.
I've looked into the DC ones where they're like DC Comics. I forgot what it's called, but they're like DC Comics characters, but in that style.
Yeah,
And so, like, Batman looks all crazy. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's a really cool Green Lantern
They
one.
sell them at Target.
Didn't they recently do?
They do?
Yeah,
Cool.
A He-Man crossover with Injustice.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fought Superman one time.
Well, I think that happens in Injustice, but yeah, I'm
Well,
not- I
like a
don't know the
long
story.
time
No,
ago.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
like
with you
he
there.
goes to Eternia or something like that.
Right.
All right.
So
What
that
do you-
was fun.
Yeah.
Jumping down
Okay.
the He-Man hole.
To move on a little bit, what have you guys been watching on streaming? Have you been streaming anything cool? I only have one mention of a movie. It's got Fred Williamson in it.
Really?
And I always look for these really obscure, I don't know, crazy looking, shitty apocalyptic movies.
Sure.
And we were talking about A Boy and His Dog the other day, and that's not
Boy and His
really
Dog's on,
not that crazy. But this movie called The New Barbarians is so fucking funny. It's so weird, and it's supposed to be serious. The dude's driving like a fucking 65 Trans Am or some shit like that, but it's all decked out, and this little kid drives it. And they have all these, they call them, I forgot what they called the dudes, but they have these man buns and like mohawks. So it came out after Mad Max.
Okay.
But it seems like in this movie, they literally have like a quarry that they knew somebody owned. So they're like, we're filming everything there. Because everything is filmed in this fucking quarry at different spots of the quarry. But you can tell it's the same. And they even recycle the same shots. One dude has like a go-kart dune buggy / deal. And he runs over this dude and he chops his head off with this deal. But the dummy is so bad. It's so funny. If you have Amazon.
Peter Jackson Bad Taste?
Worse.
Okay.
Worse.
Okay.
Like every 80s post-apocalyptic barbarian fucking weird
I'm
movie.
with you.
Oh my God. And I just stumbled upon it and was like,
so
I'm
not
gonna
necessarily
watch it.
Just different.
Oh,
It's on Prime? Is it on
Yeah, it's
Amazon
on
Prime?
It is so fucking weird. And of course, I've been watching like Father Ted streaming. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the British comedy Father Ted.
I have not.
I think it's the best British comedy ever. If you ever get a chance to watch it.
I feel like people would probably fight you about The Office and stuff about that. I don't know.
I
don't
think
watch-
Father Ted is better. I
I
think
don't-
Father
I
Ted is
don't
better to me.
watch
Yeah.
any of them.
The original British Office is only like 2. It's not very long.
No. See,
but
Father
it
Ted
does
was
have a
3,
big
yeah.
fan base.
Yeah, Father Ted has got a huge fan base. It's basically about a parochial house out in the middle of Ireland, in the middle of nowhere, basically on this island called Craggy Island. And they have a drunk priest, Father Jack. They have a dumb priest, Father Dougal, and then they have Father Ted, which he's kind of the leader of it. And then they have Mrs. Doyle. She's their housekeeper. She's all about tea. I don't know. There's just so many funny things in it, and you can tell how much influence this one show in the 3 seasons that they had actually influenced the entire run of comedy up until now.
Huh.
You can see so many things.
When did this come out?
95.
Okay.
He basically the reason why, and British comedies are the best, I think, because they don't overdo them like American comedies. Like they don't run them forever. They don't go 10 years. They'll go 3-4 years, maybe 3-4 seasons, maybe even 1 year with different seasons, and then they end it.
They certainly don't go 30 years or whatever.
No, they don't. They don't overdo it.
Right.
Like one of the fathers actually ended up doing a TV show called My Hero, and it was about Thermal Men. It was a comic book TV show.
Okay.
It was really funny too. But this show, there's so many funny things in it, and you have no tie to the priests in fucking in Ireland. But Jesus Christ, the jokes in it are funny. Everything
What
about
is it on?
It's on Prime
On
right
Amazon
now,
Prime?
and it is.
Let's check this out.
It's one of those things that I remember watching whenever I was younger and being like, "This is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen." And still to this day, that was one of the things that whenever me and my wife got together, I was like, "Oh, you've never seen Father Ted? Oh, hold on." And and now my youngest son watches it. He
Nice.
laughs his ass off. Everybody it loves that show. And I think that if you watch it and you get a couple of episodes into it, you don't have to know anything about Catholicism or anything, but it's so funny that you get wrapped up in how stupid the things are. And there's running jokes. Like he has a father that he's like, "Oh, how about we call Father so and so?" He's always got his mobile phone on him, but he calls him in these weird times, like he's sitting, like he's skiing. So he calls him, and then an avalanche crushes the father, right? Or he's like at the very end of this game show where he has to run a wire and not touch the end of it. And he's like 2 inches away from the end, and he calls us like, and he loses like 10 grand. There's so many running jokes in it, and it's so funny. And like that money was only resting in my account. There's so many good things, and there's a lot of actors that kind of guested in them, and they just you have to watch it. You just have to watch Father Ted.
I think British comedy. I think Monty Python.
Yeah, that was.
So I think that's why I haven't watched a lot of British comedy, because I'm like, where's John Cleese?
Yeah, the young ones. I can tell
Where's
you a
Eric
whole bunch
Idle
of
at?
good
Hold
ones.
on a second.
Hold on.
Did you ever watch the young ones? The young ones had Lemmy in it at one point.
Oh, really?
Because they came on and it was Motorhead, and they would always do these deals. It was about these kids that were living in like a frat house because they were all in college, and it was weird.
I think I've seen this clip.
The guy was in Drop Dead Fred, one of the main guys in that.
I do remember that this was a thing. Yes.
Yeah, and and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Motorhead, and they play Ace of Spades while they're running around this house, and, and they're fucking brutal in it, and it's awesome.
That's a cool. I think that clip's on YouTube. Or
Faulty Towers. There's so many good British comedies that were in the late '80s, early '90s. John Cleese he was on Faulty Towers.
Right.
There was there was the one where they were in the department store that started off in black and white, that ended up in color. It was just there's so many good British comedies, and they're very small in the lexicon of like series. So Faulty Towers actually did have like a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
And there were some British comedies that actually did run for 8-9 seasons.
Right.
But very select few actually ran that long, like the one with Thermo Man, which was pretty funny. But what happened with Father Ted, the reason why they didn't go a little bit further is the guy that played Father Ted, like 2 hours after the last episode but like finished wrap everything, it was done, he died like unexpectedly, like
really
done.
Man.
Wow.
And he's so funny in it. I mean, and he was a very, very funny comedian back in the day. Okay. So they poke fun at a lot of different things and a lot of culture that I have no idea about. But it's one of those things that you see. There's diehard fans with it.
Sure.
You know. So if you guys get a chance to watch it, or anybody out there listening, watch Father Ted. I even posted something on Instagram a while back because one of the fathers had died. You know, it was I was sad.
Yeah, Father Ted on Amazon Prime. I'll
check it out.
It's got to watch it. It's one of the funniest shows you'll ever watch, and you don't have to know anything about that.
Crazy segue here. First, Preacher's coming back for the final fourth
season.
What
you did there.
Yeah. Let's let a few episodes of that air before I need to catch up on that anyway. The other thing is there's this new show on Viceland called The Devil You Know. And it's like a docu-series. This journalist is investigating this guy from Salem, North Carolina, I think it was.
Yeah.
I was telling you about that?
Yeah.
And it's going to start airing soon. You can watch the episode early on Viceland, though, but it is freaking weird, dude. And it's kind of interesting. I didn't know there were multiple episodes or anything. I thought it was just like a one-off thing where maybe I thought I was behind on it. But no, it's premiering on Tuesdays now, so
nice.
Yeah, that one's kind of freaky and scary. It's this
cool.
guy is named Pazuzu, so
The Exorcist.
It's weird, dude.
I've read a couple of articles about the Exorcist 3. And now I like that movie, and that one is it's getting an anniversary here pretty soon.
It was definitely better than 2.
Well, I think it's actually the 30th anniversary of it because I think it came out in 88 or 89. Or no, 1990. So next year is going to be
next year.
And it had the Brad Dourif that does
Chucky's
Chucky.
voice. Yeah.
And
he was in Dune.
Oh man, yeah, oh yeah.
What?
He was in Dune.
This movie is pretty scary in a way, but it's not one of those that literally you're like, oh my god, I'm scared.
Right.
But it's pretty good. It's a really good one. George C. Scott's in it too, which he did some really good horror movies, and it's kind of weird. The Changeling, like we talked about, and then this one. I know that one's hitting an anniversary here pretty soon. There's a lot of anniversary things that are happening 25 years, 30 years, that are really big movies that kind of hit with us. And of course, I think in DVD, for me, the one that, again, we already talked about was The Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
How many versions are they going to come out with?
A lot.
How many
All
versions
of the
am I going to
versions.
watch?
All of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to watch them all. I just got to see them all. That was just
I'd probably look for one that has like a lot of stuff in Blu-ray. I already have a DVD, so I'm probably not gonna.
Hopefully, they come out with like a Blade Runner set
That
that
would
has
be
all the
cool.
different versions. You know, the Redux, the Anniversary, the original, Hearts of Darkness, everything like
But
that.
the documentary is fantastic, like
Yeah,
I'll always say. Let's segue here. A couple Blu-ray releases. Another reason why October is going to be awesome. Toy Story 4 is coming out on Blu-ray on October 8th, and I don't have a date for Midsommar, but that will be out in October. I forgot.
Good timing.
Yeah, that movie was great. I thought I'm a little disappointed. There's apparently a director's cut that some critics have seen that runs some scenes longer. There's no real deleted scenes I've heard, but the Blu-rays, it said there won't be any director's cut or even really any special features. No commentary track.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Not
they'll
yet.
Wait, they'll
Yeah,
wait,
10
they'll-
years from now.
Not
they'll
even
release
10
them.
years. Like a year from now, they'll be like, "Oh, here's the one with the commentary and
Special
all this
edition.
stuff."